We are officially live. Welcome, 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 welcome. If you are already live with me, go ahead and share where you're watching from. Share if you're a massage therapist, a business owner. It's been a while. It's been so long since we've gone live. Okay, I'm just going to wait a few moments for everyone to come in. But in short, in this live, we're going to be talking about goal setting. We're going to be talking about mindset. And I do want to start a conversation about how interlinked your personal development is to developing your business. You can't have one without the other. So I want us to get in that conversation mode again. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm so excited. This is so amazing. Okay. But yeah, when you come in and we're live on YouTube, we're also live on Instagram, and we're live in the private Facebook group. If you're new here, my name is Ayana. I'm a licensed massage therapist, esthetician, and spa owner. I've owned my spa for, wow, over 4 years now. And actually, August marks my fourth year. Wow, oh my gosh. My fourth year being self employed and diving headfirst into business ownership. It's been 4 years. That's crazy this month. So we're kind of celebrating. And I'm going to be going live really all this month. So get used to seeing my face. Hi, Shamika. Hi, Shannon. Welcome in. I'm seeing Long Island, Massachusetts. Okay, okay. California. Welcome, welcome. We're going to dive right in. Hi, Angie. Welcome. Okay. Maryland, St. Lucie, Florida, Port St. Lucie. Wow. Okay. This is so exciting. Happy Friday, everyone. But yes, if you're just now joining, we're going to be talking about goal setting, mindset, really anything that's on my heart to share right now. I'm just really trying to get into a groove with going live, creating more connection and posting again, to be quite honest. I kind of disappeared for a little bit. But if you're also coming from the newsletter, welcome. So we're going to kind of dive right in. I don't want to waste any time because guess who forgot their laptop charger? So I have at least a good hour left on this laptop. So we're just going to dive right in. All right, so it's been 4 years since owning my business, and there's just been so much that I've learned. I can't put it all in just one video. Some of you have seen a lot of my lessons, a lot of my mistakes over on the YouTube channel, over on some of the content that I post on Instagram. Even in Spa Biz Success, I share some of the mistakes that I've made and, ways that I've pivoted, different strategies that I use. And I definitely want to make that the focus of this month is just diving into lessons, like lessons in business, because there's just so much I want to share with you all that I know will help someone who might be starting their business, thinking about it. Maybe you just graduated from school. If you don't mind, go ahead and share in the chat, what stage you're in. Are you a business owner? Are you a part-time business owner, full-time business owner? Are you a student? Did you just graduate? I would love to see who's in the room with us right now. And even if you catch the replay, let me know in the comments what stage of business you're in right now, because that will also help me cater my content to help you where you're at. More than likely, I've been where you're at, wherever you are. I'm seeing some of you are scaling your business, part-time business owners, okay. And at this point, I'm in the full-time business ownership stage. That's where we're at. We're at the scaling stage, we're at the growing stage, and really just trying to think ahead to long-term vision, long-term goals. So that is kind of where I'm at right now. When I first started, how I got into the spa industry, I worked behind the desk at a franchise spa, And that's where I got to see a lot of the operations, a lot of the sales. It was actually my job to sell packages, memberships, book appointments. What else did we do? File, do paperwork. But I think one of the most valuable things that I learned was, sales and marketing when I was in that role. And actually, I did some digging the other day, just looking for different resources I could use, even as I grow my business and grow even the employment side of my business. And I found some old emails from my previous employer. That was years ago. That had to be 2015, 2016. This was before I even went to school for massage, and I was a sales associate. And even the short time that I had there, I was selling most of the memberships. I was selling most of the gift cards. I was selling, what else did we sell? Packages. They would send an email like every week, sometimes every 2 weeks, and it will show, okay, Ayana sold this many, this person sold this many. We had certain sales goals that we had to meet. And being in that environment definitely taught me a lot about sales. And now, being a massage therapist, I can impart that with you all, because something that I find with a lot of healers, massage therapists, energy workers, body workers, is that we kind of shy away from the salesy side of the business. But honestly, if you don't have those, skill sets, then you may not have a business. Or if you don't have someone working in your business that has a skill set in marketing or sales, then you don't have a business. And that's kind of the hard truth. And we have to learn about these things. And that's why this platform exists. That's why this channel exists. And that's why I talk about it so much. All right, seeing some Spava's success students in the house represent. Solo practitioners. Okay. Solo practitioner in my second year after working in a spa setting for 7 years and then Zeal for 6 years. Yes. And I think we have a call coming up. As a matter of fact, Sanctuary Spa NYC. Awesome. Okay. But the main thing that's on my heart to share today is mostly talking about personal development and how that is intertwined with business, and how, again, you can't have one without the other. And actually, if I think back to when I first started, because even though I say I've been in business for 4 years, full time, no employer except for myself, even before then, 2 years before then, I started my business and didn't do so well. And I think one of the reasons, and there's a lot of reasons why, and I talk about it quite a bit on this platform, but I think one of the reasons is also because I lacked a lot of self-awareness, to be quite honest with you. I was very, very young, lacked a lot of self-awareness of myself, or even like the ideas of like personal development, improving my mindset, improving, some of my own limiting beliefs. That wasn't even in my vocabulary. So it's no wonder why I let those limiting beliefs kind of get to me, which led to me, quitting. I didn't really see a lot of traction at that time, and I decided to just go back to working at different spas. At one point, I worked at a chiropractic office, and I also worked at a franchise. But this time, I worked there as a massage therapist and not just behind the desk, because I have my license at that time. So I'm just realizing that there is a connection and correlation between, me working on myself, like internally, spiritually, physically, all those things, and working on the business. And we're going to talk about that today. So definitely get your mind centered on being a part of this conversation, because I want all of you to be a part of this conversation. And let's ask ourselves, why do we dislike sales so much? What about sales and marketing do we shy away from? And then at the same time, we say we want to go into business and be the CEO. Like, personally, I think that one cannot exist without the other. And this is why even in my consulting or coaching or any course or just mentoring someone, I really want to get a full understanding of where is your mindset. because I've met people who have all the potential in the world, but they still have deep seated like beliefs about themselves that they may not even be aware of, and that keeps them stuck, and it keeps them from doing the thing that they know that they're supposed to be doing. I think we all have a voice inside of our heads, and we call it different things, just depends on your background and your spiritual beliefs, but we all have little tuggings of what we should be doing, and oftentimes we shy away from that because we know it's going to lead to more success, and we haven't programmed our mind to even manage that success. It's really the same reason why someone could win the lottery and still be broke, a month or two, or even less than a year from then, because their mindset is not programmed to, manage that type of wealth. And the same goes for our business. The same goes with marketing our business, promoting ourselves. What is the reason why you're not promoting yourself? Why does it feel icky to you? Or why does it feel uncomfortable to promote your services that you know are helping people? Why is that uncomfortable? You know you're making an impact. You know you're treating people who need it. You know your work is amazing. Why is it so difficult to invite them back to your practice, or recommend a package to them that might be worth $1,000, $800, $2,000, but you know it's going to impact them and they're going to get way more for whatever you're charging for it? I'm seeing a lot in the chat that a lot of you don't like sales. And I'd love to hear your reasons why. So again, this is a conversation, and I'll be kind of checking the chat while I'm discussing. All right. So one of the things that made me think about this is, so it started on Monday. What was Monday? I don't know the date, but this last Monday, I joined a challenge with two other people. They're in different industries. I actually don't know what industry, one of the participants is in, but I was looped in on a challenge. And in the challenge, we have to commit to 5 habits for 75 days. It's almost like a personal 75 hard. If you've ever heard of 75 hard, I definitely recommend you look it up after this session. But look it up because it's a mental toughness challenge. It's a challenge of discipline. And we decided to create our own version of that. And if my voice is a little hushed, it's because I'm in the spa. There are sessions going on, so hopefully I'm not being too loud. So let me know if there's any issue with the audio. But it's a mental toughness challenge, and so we decided to do our own version of that. We don't have a name of it, but we just all decided to commit to five habits. One had to be a personal habit, one had to be abstaining from something, one had to be a nutritional habit, one had to be a physical habit, and I'm blanking on what the last one had to be. Oh, a shared habit. So something that we all are going to do. So the habits that I chose, or the habits that I've committed to, are 10 pages of reading a day. Can't be an audiobook. It has to be a physical book. One salad a day, defined by, raw vegetables or fruits being in some type of medley of some sort. 30 minutes of intentional body movement, turning off my technology by 10 p.m., and then 5 minutes of meditation a day. So this is something that we all commit to. If we don't do it, we have to write sentences. I talked about this a little bit in my newsletter. Before we did 2 habits, now we're doing 5 habits. And I'm just noticing that the more I commit to these challenges and the more that I really dive into my self-improvement, the more effective I am when I am working, even when I'm working from home or I'm with my clients in the spa. I notice a correlation even in my income. My revenue seems to skyrocket when I am like focused on myself and trying to find balance, and just intentionally doing actions that I know are going to set me up for success in the long run. And I think I've also been thinking about this because I had a birthday recently in June. And of course, every birthday we get older, which, is such a blessing. It's never promised. And it really makes you reflect on, okay, I'm this age now. how do I want to feel when I'm this age or when I'm that age? Like, how did I feel 10 years ago? Like, what type of habits was I doing then that has led to the life that I'm living now? What are some of the things that had to change? Like, what were some of the turning points? And so I want us to think about this when it comes to our business. I want you to start reflecting on the fact that your business is not just a channel for sales. It's not just about making sales. It's not about six figure this, six figure that. I think that term has been so played out on the internet and it's very misleading, might I add. But it's really about the life that you want to live. Having a business is just another tool for setting up a life that you want to live. And I think what I'm seeing now is there has been a shift in the online entrepreneur community of not just, trying to do away with hustle culture and trying to truly and intentionally create businesses that we love, create businesses we can be proud of, create businesses that support the life that you want. Something that I do when someone is requesting consulting or coaching, and maybe if you've been one of those people, you already know this, but something that I like to ask you is, what is your overall goal? What is like your overall goal? Like, why are you in business? Like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now when it comes to your lifestyle and your business? Because I see the both, your lifestyle and your business as the same thing. It's a part of your lifestyle. And one of the things that I see the most on those intake forms is I see freedom. I see sometimes it's different variations, but I see freedom, time freedom, um, financial freedom. So I'm seeing a lot of freedom, and maybe you can relate to that. Maybe your main thing is freedom. But we have to dig a little bit deeper and be a little bit more specific, because time freedom to me is going to look a little bit different than what time freedom is to you. Financial freedom to one person could mean that they're debt free, and to another person, it could mean that they have an extra $2,000 in disposable income every month. So we really have to be specific. And the more specific we are, the more likely we're going to reach those goals. So there's a couple of ideas that I'm kind of throwing out there at once, which is this idea of, working on ourselves, committing to our habits, showing that we have discipline, showing up for ourselves the same way that we want other people to show up for us. We need to show up for ourselves and be serious about, whatever we are committed to. Um, but also, I'm bringing up this idea of, needing to reflect, needing to be specific about our goals, and, just dig a little bit deeper. And let me check the chat here. Yes, sales and marketing is vital. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I'm seeing that a lot of us have, some issues with self doubt, second guessing things, being unsure. And that's very, very common. And we really do have to ask ourselves why that is, where that comes from, where did it start? Dig a little bit deeper, because that's the only way we can really overcome it, is being, first of all, aware of it, and then figuring out, how can I reframe this? Even though, we're all adults, we don't have as much neuroplasticity, meaning our brain is not as flexible to molding like, let's say, a child or an infant is. But we still can. There's still this incredible thing where we can relax enough, get into our subconscious mind, reprogram certain beliefs and do the thing that we're meant to do, and figure out, at least at the very least, have some self-awareness to where these beliefs started. One thing that I see comes up a lot, especially when I'm working in a spa with success, is this idea of self-promotion is bad. Self-promotion is wrong. It's conceited. It's self-centered. It's annoying. I'm sure all of you have thought that at some point. Um, and I really want us to ask ourselves, where does this come from? Does it start in grade school? Like, does it start in, like, where did we first hear that? do we feel this way about other people? Because I think for most of us who are business owners, when we see someone else promoting their stuff, at least speaking for myself, I don't immediately get annoyed. I don't feel any type of way. If anything, I feel like, okay, I need to, start promoting myself a little bit more. Like, there's no shame in that. That's what you're supposed to do when you have a business. Now, the way that you do it is going to be very specific to you, and you don't have to do it all the same way. It doesn't have to be anything that really makes you uncomfortable. But sales, yeah, it's a little bit uncomfortable at first when you're not used to it, but eventually it should get easier. It should feel aligned, especially if in the back of your mind you know that whatever you're promoting is helping someone. That's something that you really have to keep at the forefront of your mind, is that when you're asking for a sale, when you're asking for someone to purchase your product or to book their next session with you, it's only helping them. It's helping them. It's, in a way, it's helping you. And there's no shame in that. That's what we should be doing. And we should be compensated well for the work that we're doing. And that's something we always have to remember. Yes, I do agree. There is an art to self promotion, especially if you can reframe it in a way that is client centered and not you centered. Oftentimes, I mean, most of us are very smart. We can tell when someone is only trying to benefit themselves versus having a mutually beneficial exchange. A principle I like to talk about a lot when it comes to sales and marketing is the what's in it for me principle, which is what is in it for the person that you are promoting to. All right, so I do have some notes here, and I kind of strayed away a little bit from my notes. Let's see. All right, so in the same way that we need to reflect on what strategies are working, what's our leadership style, what type of culture we're creating at our businesses, at our spas, we also need to do some heavy self reflection and awareness of ourselves. This is something that has become even more apparent to me as I've opened up my practice to have employees and work with other people and work along other people. And essentially, the stage of business that I'm at is I'm essentially a manager. I manage other people. It's not what I really want to be doing. I do want to move to the stage where, I hire an in-suite spa manager, so someone to be here on site, specifically only for the spa side of my businesses. Um, but essentially, I'm a manager, and that does require, learning more about leadership, reflecting on myself, reflecting on how I show up for other people, reflecting on how I show empathy, how I coach and train other people and encourage others. So that's something to really think about. Um, Another thing, at the very least, we can start looking at our goals. So, what are some of your long term goals for your business? What are some of the long term goals for yourself? Because again, I see it as kind of the same thing. Whatever goals that you have for yourself, in some way or form, it's going to affect your business. Whatever goals that you have for the business, it's going to affect yourself on a personal level too. I don't see them as being separate. Definitely. Okay, so when it comes to setting goals and a book that I've been reading, because remember I said I have to read 10 pages every day, it can't be an audiobook. I've been reading this book called The Power of Focus. It's written by Jack Canfield. This is the same guy who wrote the Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul series, which I loved as a kid. Maybe you've read it as well. But this book is really all about trying to understand how to stay focused. But it kind of sets up the book by talking about goal setting, talking about visualization, which is very, very powerful. Something I actually thought about today is a lot of my visualization happens when I'm in the treatment room. And some of the best business ideas I've come up with, anything that I've ever put out there, at some point it was an idea. Even this platform, at some point it was an idea. And I probably got this idea while I was in the treatment room. And that's probably because maybe it's more clear to me because I'm, literally operating in my purpose. I'm operating in a place where I'm helping someone else. And, having that mutual exchange probably makes, these visions or these ideas even stronger. And I would love to hear from you all if, when you're in the treatment room, if your ideas just become more clear or you start to have like more insights. Very curious about that because that's kind of how I am. But when it comes to setting a goal, what I find really interesting is that we're all taught to set SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, um, achievable, realistic, and time based. So, something that I've read in this book is Jack Canfield says that goals must be flexible because rigid systems make you feel suffocated. So, when you are thinking about the goals that you have for your business or you have for your personal development, try to come up with goals that are somewhat broad but also is something that you genuinely want to accomplish. So, for example, one of my habits that I committed to for the next 75 days is 30 minutes of intentional body movement. And this is something that I committed to even last month. We did like a 30-day challenge where we had to commit to two habits. And I said 30 minutes of intentional body movement because anything more specific in this instance would be a little bit too rigid for my lifestyle at this point. So I didn't say, oh, go to the gym 5 days a week or go to Pilates, twice a month or whatever the case may be. I said 30 minutes of intentional body movement. So that could be walking for 30 minutes. That could be stretching for 30 minutes on those days when it's, rainy outside or it's, I don't know, maybe I'm not feeling up to it, but, the least I can do is stretch, move my body in that way. And that is just a little bit more flexible. So I'm more likely to reach that goal because I have some leg room there. And this is a little bit different because it's not exactly a goal. It's more like a habit that I am looking to embed within me. But if anything, to just build your confidence, you can start with having a goal of committing to habits. You can see how the two are different. A goal, again, is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time based. A habit is more like an action that is just a part of you. It's a part of your lifestyle. It's a part of how your life is set up. And a lot of us are very flexible on our habits, but we don't commit to our habits. So that's the difference. Another thing that he mentions that really resonates with me is the fact that your goals need to be in alignment with your values. So, for example, if you're in your spa and your goal is to sell 5 packages, just making sure it's within your values. So your packages are very straightforward. There's nothing misleading about them. Um, if your values are honesty or transparency or whatever the case may be. So if my value is transparency, then I probably wouldn't hide the prices of my packages or hide the prices of my services if that's my value. So just thinking about what your values are, and that's really where we can begin when it comes to setting our goals, creating our habits. Because if you don't know your values, then you probably don't know the direction of your life or how you want to be in line with those values. So, some of my values in my business and my life, because the two are connected, are impact. So, making an impact. So, whatever I'm doing, whatever service, whatever course you see out there, whatever content that you see, whatever services we're doing in the spa, if it doesn't have an impact, then it's not something I'm going to be doing. So, it needs to impact the other person in some way. Oftentimes, I find that our impact is reflected in our revenue. So when you have those $10,000 months or those $12,000 months, it doesn't necessarily mean that you were working hard. It probably means that you were creating a big impact for somebody somewhere. So always keep that in mind, because a lot of people shy away from, the big numbers or numbers that might feel scary. And for everyone, there is a number that feels scary when it comes to promoting yourself or selling something. But usually that's going to be in line with whatever impact that you create. And that's why I'm very much against, massage therapists, especially new massage therapists or estheticians, lowballing their services just because they're new. Just because you're new does not mean that you cannot make an impact in someone's life or in their health or even their mental well being. Another value that I have is time freedom. So, making sure that I'm not bogged down with work. I am a mom, I have a family. So, having freedom to do things with them and do things together is really, really important to me. So, whatever goal that I have or whatever task that I have in my business, it's likely going to contribute to my time freedom. So, this is really how I map everything out. Another one is visibility. So, depending on whatever goal I might have in business, it could impact my visibility, especially being a small business. I really want to make sure, I make myself known to my community. So those are just examples of values. Other values that we have, especially at the spa, are world-class customer service. Customer service is so important to me for so many reasons, especially being a minority-owned business, female-owned business, and a small business technically. Customer service is really, really important. Having high standards for care, optimism, client education, body positivity, and also client convenience are all values. So, whatever services I have, whatever systems I have, any standard operating procedures are going to be in line with those values. So, if you're not at the point of setting, realistic goals for yourself or habits for yourself, really start with what are your values? What do you value, and how can your goals stay in line with those values? Let me take a break to just sip some water and read through the chat here, see how y'all are adding to the conversation. I do see an interesting question that says, can you give some tangible examples of milestones new MRs should be hitting? I'm not sure what MRs stand for. Maybe registered massage, if it was reverse. But I'm going to assume you mean like massage therapist or body worker. Oh, I see. Massage therapist. So milestones are kind of going to be different for everyone. When I work with someone, the main milestones that I have them achieve is, first creating your mission. That's, first and foremost, creating your mission statement and understanding what your business model is, because everything else is going to be based on those two things. Another one is committing to your routines and mindset, which is a little bit about what we're, discussing today. Another one is creating your marketing plan. So that's another milestone that I have them complete when we're working together. Um, Creating systems. So creating systems that work for you, not the other way around. So creating systems that save you time, that save you energy, that save you headache. That's another milestone. But for any massage therapist, you may have your own milestones, especially if you're a solo practitioner. It could be, getting your first 10 clients, or getting, making sure 50% of those first clients rebook. But those are very specific, and you can go the extra mile and make it time based. So say that you'll do this within the next 30 days and track it and stay consistent. So those are just examples. Those are just examples. Yes, system operations in place equal big monthly sales. I would agree. I would agree, because I think the most revenue that I've seen in a month period results from having certain systems in place, having the team on board doing what they're supposed to do, and also creating that impact. So making sure that we're putting services out there that's creating an impact in some way. All right, so I do want to kind of recap and then get back to the chat. So, all in all, not all in all, it's all important. But something I really want you to think about over the weekend, over this next week, is what are your values? What are some of the goals that you have? Are those goals in line with your values? And are your habits in line with your goals? And what could you be doing personally that could set you up for success? Is it that you'll read 10 pages of a business book a day? Is it that you'll reach out to 5 mentors that might be interested in mentoring you? Is it that you'll go to 3 marketing events? But even to do those things, there are certain, personal habits you might need to do. So an example for myself, and it's pretty personal, but I am a huge introvert. And I know a lot of people say that they're introverts, but I think I'm like a true introvert. And even I had like a team meeting where we all got together and we took a personality test. And in this personality test, I believe this was the Myers Briggs test. And it turns out I am 83% more introverted than everyone on my staff, which is really interesting considering that when I think of a CEO, I think of someone who is, puts themselves out there, who is, not necessarily loud, but just like, I don't know, I think of maybe like Rihanna or like Beyonce, like they are obviously CEOs, and they have other things going on. But I just think of a different personality type. I think of extroverts or even ambiverts. So that's really interesting. But in order to do some of the things that I do, which involves leadership, which involves managing other people, which involves coaching, which involves encouraging, so many different things like people skills, even going to networking events. That took some time to do because I had to overcome the belief that I'm shy or I am just what's another term for that? I am soft spoken, things that have been told to me, but not necessarily things that I've thought about myself. These are mostly things that have been told to me, someone else telling me that's how they perceive me, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily a belief that I personally hold on myself. And so I've had to do some work in, changing these things, doing affirmations, reading certain books that can, help with being in certain situations or networking, things like that. So, what I'm really saying with this story is that even if you have certain beliefs about yourself, it's really important to understand where they come from, identify them, change the story around, change what you're telling about yourself so that you can have, certain habits that are going to influence your goals. So if I hadn't done that work, I probably wouldn't go to networking events and I wouldn't have met certain people who have, helped me in business, and I wouldn't have done XYZ or even had the confidence to feel like I could hire other people and have them work for me. There's so many things, just so many examples like that. Another thing I did want to share, there was one other thing that really stood out to me. Goals must include contribution. So that's another thing that Jack Canfield says in this book, Power of Focus, which really means giving your time, expertise, um, giving money. That's charitable events, things like that. However you want to do that. Even I have a goal to really, really give back in an impactful way. I won't talk about that here, but hopefully I'll be sharing something like that next year, to give back to my community here, and even on this platform. But other ways you can give back is through mentorship. So even outside of what I do in Spa Biz Success and other things, there are local massage therapists who I speak with and share advice. And to me, that's kind of giving back to the industry that has helped me so much and has literally changed my life. Um, Let's see, goals must be well balanced. So they have to include relaxation, they have to include enjoying your life. That's a huge value of mine, is having balance. I never want to get to the point of, being up till 3 a.m., working on the business. For now on, just doing 2 hour blocks of, deep, deep work, because that's how I'm going to be the most effective. And the only way I even know to do that is by having some self knowledge about myself and about how I work and how I'm, most effective. And this is why that self reflection is so, so important. Okay, so one more thing that I really want to share that was really insightful for me, and this is me quoting the book, The Power of Focus, by Jack Canfield. But he says, where most people are unrealistic about their goal is in determining the amount of time it will take to achieve them. So remember, in SMART goals, there is that part of it that says realistic. Your goal must be realistic. Any goal is realistic. Any goal that you can think of is realistic. You say you want to be a millionaire, it's realistic if that's important to you and that aligns with your values and that creates an impact. If you say you want to, I don't know, I'm bad at thinking of examples, but whatever example you can think of, it can be far fetched. It could be the thing that you wouldn't dare share with your friends because they would think that it's unrealistic. We all have goals like that. They're all realistic. The only thing is that the time that we assign that is can be unrealistic. So saying that you want to be a millionaire by, December, let's be real, that could be unrealistic depending on how your business is already set up, what systems you have in place, your team. No one really gets there by themselves. I've never heard of someone who gets there on their own. They definitely had help involved. But just be realistic with your time, like what time you're assigning your goals. So, and be realistic with where you're at currently. Now, there are ways to speed up the process, such as, reading certain books, getting help, mentorship, courses. There's so many different ways. Um, and even just doing focused, deep work on researching and things like that. There are ways to speed up your timeline, working on your self beliefs, so many different things. But just be realistic with where you're at currently, um, so that you can have even more confidence when you do achieve that goal. All right, so that's really the message I really wanted to share today. I do want to know if this is helpful. I will likely have some links in the description on, well, depending on what platform you're on, just to help you in other ways, a lot of free resources. If you're new here, I have a free newsletter, I post YouTube videos. There's just so much that I want to give. I do want to check the chat here. Let me look over on YouTube. Yes. I want to highlight some of these comments here. Okay, yes. A lot of my ideas come to me when I'm in the treatment room too. I think I may have something to do with me not having too many distractions. Absolutely. Yeah, not having those distractions is really great. Just being like in that relaxed state of mind is really great. And I think even when I get treatments, when I get massages or treatments, I also have really good insights come to me. And that's really when we're the most impressionable, is when we're in a relaxed state. Working in your business is a different skill set than working on your business. Absolutely. Absolutely. And even just to comment on that, that's why it's important to honestly hire someone to work in your business while you work on the business. And when I think of working on the business, I think, having the visions, having the ideas, um, pretty much being the North Star to like where everyone is going. What books do you recommend to help with shyness and talking to people? I struggle with that. Ooh. Honestly, what helps me, I'm still looking for books that help with that introvertedness. I'm trying to think, is there a book that specifically covered that? Hmm. I don't think there's a book that I've read that's coming to my mind that has specifically covered that, but something that I do that really does help is affirmations, repetitive affirmations, listening to them as I fall asleep. So it's just, going through my mind as I'm sleeping. Um, it's really interesting because there are times where even the people in my dreams are saying those affirmations to me, which I think is just so powerful. So I would say affirmations work for me. That helps. Um, Especially affirmations that build confidence and really let you know that, people want to hear what you have to say. People value your time, they value your presence. Um, yeah, like that's just a fact. So just understanding that and truly believing it will really help you talk to people. Because I think sometimes shyness will come from the belief that we learn as children, sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes through trauma. We don't have to talk about it, but at least in this session, but of thinking that our voice doesn't matter, or thinking that we don't matter, or thinking that, we're smaller than what we really are. And that's just not true. So we just have to develop a different belief around that. I definitely want to have a live dedicated to talking more about the technology systems, things like that. And I am working on getting you all some more videos. I'm truly working on it. It's wild because I've been filming since April. I have content since April, May, June, I think even March, and I'm putting it all together so I can put it out there. I totally agree, Alyssa. So she says people like talking about themselves too. So when you ask good questions, it gives you more time to relax. Just pay attention. Yeah, you got to pay attention. That's the hard part sometimes. I'm seeing someone said The Eighth Habit by Stephen Covey. I'm going to check that out. Let me actually, if I wasn't using my phone, I'd write that down, but I'm going to check that out. Yes. It's been so fun hanging out with you all and just connecting and just starting the conversation. This has been amazing. We're going to do it more often. I am going to bring back the Tuesday lives. I do plan to go live next Friday as well. Probably in the middle of the day like this. Um, if you haven't joined my newsletter, definitely message me to join because this is how you can be notified of when I go live. Because sometimes I kind of do it spur of the moment, when it's on my heart to share something. But I definitely appreciate everyone's support and just kind words. Like I feel really blessed, and I hope this helped someone who needed to hear it. And I will see y'all in the next live.